Hi there, my name's Carol and I'm the proud owner of Healergize_Reiki on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. And I also run an art workshop or clubs called The Guided Brush. The Guided Brush I started in 2017 after getting information from my guides on the spirit side, and it's been just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I've done some amazing paintings. Well, I never knew I could paint. If you don't already know me, I am a very spiritual person and I've done some amazing stuff, and my house was guided to me by the spirit world, so I know this power of intention and things works. But I've done a lot of work on myself and I'm reaping the rewards from that. It's just amazing. Come along, find out actually what I do. I'm a Reiki master, so I've done all my studying in the Reiki thing. I've been studying for 25 odd years because I went for healing myself. Then I went into crystal healing, and the healing I went to have done, I was invited to go to a healing class and I thought, yeah, okay. And I went, and during the 6 weeks of this course, I found that by placing my hands on somebody's back, because I felt I had to, I was being literally drawn to heal, put my hands on this man's back. I said to him, you suffer with pleurisy, and I could feel this stuff going up my arms, this energy. And he said, wow, you're drawing it off me. He said, I'm a Reiki master and so is my wife, and we have never touched that. I was dumbfounded, and I found the whole experience a little bit concerning at first because I did not understand anything at all about energy. Well, that's a bit of a strange thing. I worked in energy for 19 years with fighter aircrafts and all sorts of stuff, so it's not as if I don't know anything about energy, because I certainly do know. I know a lot about vibrational work. I've done that as well, microwaves, all that sort of stuff. So, but I suppose I'm not quite an engineer, but in the work I did, it was out there. You know, it's a physical object. I can hold it in my hands, or I can go up to something and be working on part of the equipment that went into a helicopter or an aircraft, and that was fair enough. But when it's suddenly either information coming into your head or your hands are doing something that you can't see what on earth's going on, but you can physically feel it, and then these guides come in and start talking to you, and you're like, what? And then you're thinking, am I supposed to tell this person all this information? And then when you do start telling them, they go, oh, yeah. No, that was my nan. That came back from my father. Oh, yeah, no, I was in a car crash. You're right. And yeah, I do have whiplash. Oh, can you feel that? And I said, well, the reason you're getting all these headaches and you've got these problems are all from the whiplash. Because whiplash knocks your head forward, and what you don't see is all the little muscles break. And obviously that causes problems. And then you carry on. Anyway, blah, 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 ranting and raving here. But the point was, I didn't understand it all. It's taken me years and years and years of asking questions, doing investigative work. So when I'm told something, I always look it up. I try and find it. If I can't, I put it out there. And the messages always come back. And we all get this. I'm not the only person. I'm not talking that I'm special or anything, but I came back. My purpose in life was to come back to Earth and find out why the human body has not evolved, and the planet. Well, now we are evolving extremely fast indeed. People are getting sleepless night, they're nausea, they can't sleep at all, they're fidgety, they get up and the room's spinning. Lots of people get dizziness now. They never had it before. You go to the doctor and they'll prescribe you with all sorts of, oh, just take that, you got a viral infection, you got this, you got that. And none of it does any good. But unless they chop you off, bits off of you, they can't do anything but give you more pills for it, or just sort of think, oh, they're making it up. But the point is, that isn't you, it's your body. It's working energetically, which it always does, and it's out of kilter with what's around it. Because the planet, science has said the planet is speeding up, change frequency. So if that's change frequency and you're standing on it, I can tell you 100% that your body now is not working at all at the right frequency. And the vibration you don't realize that's happening in your body is making you feel sick. It's making you dizzy. That all comes because I've done it That's what I worked on for donkey's years, on aeroplanes and stuff, and actually vibrated equipment and watched thick chunks like this of solid steel go like that, physically move like that. And I've seen things levitate, so I know things can levitate through energy as well, building up huge magnetic energy, because I've seen it all and worked with it. And people in the industries of cars and planes and all sorts of things work with that daily. They understand it. But believing in it when you can't see it is a little bit different, especially to people who know nothing about vibration, frequency or anything else. They wouldn't understand any of it, which is fair enough. We're not all here to know everything. But I do understand it all now. And the human body is just phenomenal. Absolutely. It keeps me alive every day. I have no idea what I'm breathing in, how it works from here to get into my body, and then system work within the rest of me. But my body does, and it's working 1,000 trillion times of a 0 point of a second. I wouldn't be able to think it. As soon as I thought it, I'd stop the chain and probably fall over, because I'm too slow, and I'm not the only. Every single person thinking it can't work as fast as the body can. And that's because it's connected to the whole of the planet Earth. Wow. In just that. It's the soul that comes in and sods the whole system up, and other things. There are other interactions that can happen that aren't just the soul, but they certainly do come along and interrupt. The human body was only here, was built from the trees and everything to go round and look after the planet. So if a tree needed the weeds removed from the base, the human body went and did it. If this needed doing, that needed doing. That's the basis. But the human body is super intelligent. As intelligent as you can imagine. Science is now telling you how intelligent trees are, fungi are, this is, that is, and that's all inside of you, working to keep you upright, to keep you alive. But the problems then occur is when you don't trust yourself. If you don't trust anything, your body starts to get burdens. And you lead it into trouble, it gets pains, it gets injuries. When you lose a leg or an arm, I worked with someone who was in the war, Second World War, years ago in this company I worked for. And he lost both his legs in the war. And he was before prosthetics, so he walked around on wooden legs and would swing his body. And he used to sit down, his name was Les. He was brilliant. He was the trades union man for the company I worked for. And he was so funny. And he never moaned about his legs, but then he'd say, "Oh my God, Carol, my toes itch." I'd look at him and think, I'd say, "What do you want about your toes itch?" He said, "Oh my God," he said, "losing your legs, you'd think that was the end of it, wouldn't you? You know, when you got an itchy knee or a toe." And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "And no cramp. You get cramp in your leg." I went, "Oh my God, that's painful." He said, "Well, I still get all that." I said, "Well, how can you?" It's impossible, you haven't got any legs. I was only in my 20s then. And he said, "No, you still get it. Nowadays it's called phantom something or other, but it didn't have a name in the 70s. And I was looking at him and I was like, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "Well, I can feel where it is. So I go to that area and I scratch it as if my leg was still there, or rub my leg and try and stop this pain." I said, "Does it work?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I can't explain it to you, Carol, any better than that. But just because I can't see my leg, and I know it's not there because it's been removed, my leg energy pain is still there. My body still believes it's there." I was like, flipping hell. Not that I thought any more about that, but move me fast forward now until we're 2025. Well, before that, I started 20 years ago actually going into myself to find out who I was, to heal my body. And that's taken me 20 odd years to heal my body. Flipping hell, it's a long, you have to go all the way back to your very beginning of this human existence. That is interesting. And in fact, it's very interesting. But I've done that. It's all done. Tick. So that's good news. When people say you can't see other people because they're dead, after talking to Les in my 20s, and he said to me with no legs because they were taken off in the war, and I met him in the 70s, and the war ended in 45. something like that. I'm not sure if he was in Japan, so he might have been a bit later. But he lost his legs then and still had these phantom itches. Now, people might say, oh, well, it's nothing to worry about. But if he didn't scratch it, the pain would get worse. And I know that he's not the only one. Anyone who's had limbs removed, they'll say this. So people who don't have any limbs removed, I suggest you just go, because you don't know. Go and ask people who have got limbs removed and ask them what funny information they have to offer on after having limbs removed, what still goes on in the body. And then you'd know. It's unseen, it's definitely not there, but the energy blueprint is still available and working as normal. The human body does not accept it's not there. Your skin is your skin, but somehow the actual body is still there, attached to the original body. It's something maybe to get your head around, but if they feel it, how dare anybody feel you know better and they're not really true? That is disgraceful. Because should it happen to you, then you've got to go out there and say, I used to say, bunch of, talking rubbish. They weren't. It's disgraceful. If you don't know, don't say. If you don't believe, just keep your thoughts to yourself. But when you realise that you are not the super intelligence and your body is, you start to get a much better life for yourself. People who teach intuition or how to better your life first have to get you to trust you. All of this. They've got to get you to trust who you are. And that is one hell of a job, I have to say. Once you trust yourself, and you'll get better at it, your life will turn to a phenomenal life. But you have to trust this human, phenomenal being and love it for every single part of it. Because this human body is it made from the womb of Mother Earth. And if you don't like your body, you are basically telling Mother Earth you don't like her womb and what she created. Think how you would feel if somebody kept telling you, whether you have children or not, that they didn't like something you had personally made and you thought was phenomenal. If your child said to you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And I'm sure that does happen around the world. And that's because you don't believe how phenomenal you are. If you started to believe, you could tell that person who's hating you, say, no. We've got it all wrong. We are phenomenal. You're phenomenal. I am. We got this creation. We were created by something hugely magnificent. And it's created everything on this planet because we are in the womb. We are created from a womb. Whether you can see it or not, who cares? I can't see myself when I was in my mum's womb. I didn't even know who I was. I only knew that as I grew up. I was given a name. I didn't know that at my birth. Did you? So don't try and be smart. So when people are smart, they need to remember, go back a little bit. What did you know when you were sitting in your mum's womb? You knew all of life, did you? Interesting. Maybe we should sit around the table and turn the tables around to people and say, right, well, tell us about your womb experience. No guides, you just tell it as you tell it because you're supposed to be more intelligent. Try not to get into that one because you're not. This body, in whatever shape or form it is or colour, is super intelligent. And given the opportunities and the right circumstances, it will work phenomenally. There are people who know exactly how this body works. And that is really what the Holy Grail is all about. So those people govern everything. Now it's your turn. Turn your power into your power. Stop giving it away. Learn who you are, and you can only learn that through you. You can't go to any university and learn it. You can't take any PhD or anything else, because that's giving it away again. Only you can learn about you, and your body will only tell you about yourself. It is phenomenal. I honestly would say to every person, do it, and I would certainly say get on and do it now. Don't pay anyone outside of them unless they're going to heal you. If they're going to come at you and say, you know, Aunt Bessie's here and blah, 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 blah here, but you've got a problem with your hip. And that hip goes back 4 generations because she was involved in a terrible scene that happened, and she was transported by a slave ship, let's say, for instance. Had awful conditions. And the reason you and your family have always suffered with that particular ailment is from that. So let's heal it. You go to those healers. I'm one of those, and there are phenomenal healers out there. I've done my journey, and I work with healers who have been dead thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. I work with animals. They come up to me and tell me things. If there's a problem with your body, and it might not be something that you would know about, but when you were conceived in the womb, one of the processes to get to the human body, that creature, could be sea, could be anything, is what's missing. Let's connect you back in. Let's see what we can do. You might then need to go to hospital, have other work done, and then go to physio. But let's get you connected and started so you can get on this phenomenal bandwagon of you knowing you. That's what you want to look for. You knowing you. And I've got loads of stories out there where I've met people who have come to me for help who are dead. And by meeting very randomly people who have come then for Reiki online healing, those people have come and stood beside me and said, we're going to tell you a story, Carol. Some of it has made me heave because I've cried so much. Because it is so painful, some of the stories I've had to endure to understand. And then when I ask the people, does this make any sense? Yes, it does. Not my family, but marriage through 4 generations ago. Yep, that makes sense to me. They told me about that history. Done. Then I can say healed. They won't have it inside them, but their information is what these people have come to ask for healing for. It is a phenomenal world, but when you decide that's what you want to do, you want to heal your body, you can tap into phenomenal stuff. Some of it is interesting, but people like me, I push through it and I can go most places. Well, in fact, I can go anywhere and ask those questions. And you only get in if you've asked the right questions and they are willing to accept that. So you haven't got to worry about, are you going to meet anything, because that possibly wouldn't happen to most people because you would never ask those questions in the first place. And if you got there, they would just go, no chance. No chance. Because normally people read you, they scan you up and down and they read all the information, and if you're coming in, they'll let you in. Because you're not there to judge. You can't go to certain places if you are judgmental. There are certain places that are shut, locked, really difficult to get into, because if you're judgmental, they're not letting you in. Because they don't need judging, they know who they are, they know what they're doing, but they would never let you in. And I have to say, I have been to some of those places. And my name was never on the list. But I might be asking to retrieve somebody, for instance. I've had people come for healing who need something healed that's mixed up in someone else's story, and they've gone, but they're not in the right place, so they wouldn't be able to get them. So in I walk, where angels fear to tread. But that's not true either, because most angels, it's an energy, just got to get in there, be fearless and no judgment. And then you can get to the root of the problem, find out what the story was, understand the story from the various participants, Fun enough, I'd done one recently, and it didn't involve the actual person that had done the crime, but I had to meet people that he worked for. As they all laughed, Carol, you'd have been the last person we'd invited round the table. Same, I said, well, I might have met you in a cafe somewhere, but no. Yeah, I don't think we would have met round the table. But we laughed our heads off, and they've helped me endlessly with information I wanted to know about. I don't understand this. Why'd you call that? What happens here? Why do people have to get caught up in things who are totally innocent? All sorts of things I've asked about. Just so I know, because some of my healing involves precise stuff. If I don't know it, then then I have to wait or ask someone else something. It can be tiresome. I want to get to the point, get it done, get this person healed onto whatever it is they've actually come for, and then they can go home and start a new life without these tie-ups that go back to the 50s or the 40s or something stupid. Lots of tie-ups at the moment are stuck in World War I. World War II is now gone. There is lots of history still happening from World War II, but in fact World War II now is done. But World War I is not, because that was massive trauma, and it affects so much of the world. It's unbelievable. Things that went on in World War I that were nothing to do with the World War I in itself. But hey, people can make money. People learn, wow, we can make money here. Let's open the door. Let's see how well this works. Really interesting. That spurred all sorts of things to happen, but that's not been healed. And lots of people's mind illnesses and schizophrenia and all sorts of odd things. I'm not saying it's odd, but the people I've met are World War I problems, which I can understand. One guy actually took me to his problem. Flipping hell. Absolutely terrifying. How do you stand somewhere and you've got to go over and you're going to be shot and you've got to run through barbed wire? I mean, most people in their living sense would never try and get through barbed wire, crawl through it to get to the other side so you can get the enemy, and they come back to you the same way. This barbed wire had razor blades in it. So most people were dying in front of them. But there was no way out. I mean, maybe people should read about World War I, and then they might understand some of the problems that their families have gone through. And when you say, oh, I don't care, that was in the past. No, you should care, because your body holds the keys to it. And this is why, for me, going back and actually understanding me and actually clearing all the threads out that I was attached to, that some were mine, some were not, some I was there watching it, I listened to somebody, I got secondhand news, whatever, is gone. So now my body is showing me what it's capable of, so I'm going back to keep fit and things like that. So I'm actually having a bit more fun, and my body said, come on, Carol, liven up, keep up. Christ almighty, keep up. I don't know if I came back for that. I have got to admit, but it is funny, and I am keeping up. And I am going, wow, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. They said, oh, you think you know it all, don't you, Carol? You come from a place that's phenomenally fantastic. And you come from the place that we should have been at, and we never made it. And you've taken us with all of your pals, and you have thousands of pals, are taking us to where we should be. But we're going to take you on a journey before we get there to have fun. And I certainly am. I mean, I've injured myself. You think, why is that fun? But actually it has been quite, I'm getting somewhere. I'm not going to be good at everything I ever go at, but I will have a go at it, and I will keep pushing. I'm not someone who gives up, just, I'll give up that. That's not really on the game cards. I didn't do that spiritually, as I wouldn't have found out who I was. So I'm not likely now to go, oh, I've given up on that. No. But what I'm trying to say is, everyone's got something in them. And we are phenomenal, absolutely. But you've got to start opening your eyes and questioning things. Question what I've done. Google things. Definitely people who've had amputations. Google that. People have had strokes and then are taught at physio to get the good hand opposite the hand that doesn't work properly and start moving it so the hand remembers. 20 odd years ago, I was saying to people, if you can't get something to move, you put the hands together or your legs together. When I'm working in energy work and someone can't walk properly, nothing to do with strokes, but if they can't walk properly, I stand them together, I face them, and then I chat to them, touch the other side of their bodies, wherever it is. I say, right, put your hand there. Do you think that's opposite where you got the pain? Yes. Concentrate on the leg that's, or the whatever's wrong, on the part that's good. Now transfer that energy to the one that doesn't work and just rub that area and say, I'm so sorry, but this is the true connection. This is where we should be. This leg works, this arm works, this finger works, this eye works, this ear works, whatever it is. If there's a duplicate of it, use it. If not, get a very, very good medical book or anatomy book that shows where it is on your body and look at it. And then say to the part you might be holding here or a muscle and say, look down there, that's the muscle there. It's supposed to be flat and fitted. Is there a chance we could go back to it? Your body is looking at it, reading it. Yeah, oh, yeah, okay, let's get back on with it. You do not know how phenomenal you are because you take yourself for granted. And that is a big no. Don't take yourself for granted. You are phenomenal. Just look at you. It doesn't matter if you're in a chair and you can't get out of it. It doesn't matter what you can do. You are phenomenal as you are. I really, really mean that. And once you plug into your phenomenal human being and the earth, which is all connected, you will be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So please, please, please look at your body. Look things up, read about them, to do with your body, not outside. The more people who learn how phenomenal they are going to be in a better position to drive to where they want to go to. And I want everyone to succeed. That is my joy. That would be my biggest, biggest gift that I could give back to the human body. Is that everyone starts paying attention to themselves. That would be my biggest, biggest gift ever. And that's what I would really, really love everyone to do, is connect to themselves, to learn about themselves. Because I can't tell you, I can't keep mentioning how phenomenal you are. I know you are. I really know you are, because I know your body is. I don't know about your personality, I don't know where you come from, any of that, but I know that your human body is the same as mine. And all human bodies are phenomenal. So I know that one thing. See you later.